Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Here to talk all things hockey are your hosts, Brad Crisco, Ryan Hanna, and Evan Lobsinger.
I think this is a really funny dynamic where Brad, who had to leave Winged Wheel Podcast night the morning after 6:30 in the morning, and knowing you have not stopped moving physically since then, is here completely drained of energy. At one point I had to wake him up because he was resting his head on the mic stand. And Evan, who's been at home, quarantined, you're free now, but fully rested, fully recuperated, bumping with energy, and me completely disorganized today. There's been some kind of frame shift. We slipped into an alternate universe and everyone's taking each other's roles.
It's because I had one of those caffeinated bubblies.
Oh, how are those?
They're good, but they should not have that much caffeine, that's for sure.
Is it a lot?
It's it's almost the same amount as a coffee. Literally 6 milligrams less.
That's
because I looked it up. I was like, 34 milligrams of caffeine. I was like, that seems like a lot.
I'm going to start slipping those in your waters when you get here.
Yeah, they're, you can't just grab one from the fridge like the other ones. You got to be very selective on your timing. Have one of those at 10 p.m. by accident. Oh, see you tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, folks, welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Back in studio today, and all of us somewhat at full health. Here to talk Red Wings hockey, NHL hockey, and just about hockey. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Hanna.
Definitely not at full health. I'm Brad Crisco.
And I'm Evan.
Evan is...
Where's my Eric Stahl shirt, by the way?
Your Eric Stahl shirt?
Don't even joke about this. We had this conversation.
I do not remember this conversation.
The 1000 game?
Oh, that's the Mark Stahl shirt.
Mark.
Bum.
What did I say?
Eric.
Force a habit.
God.
Force a habit.
They're on the way. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold
I don't
that.
know how that came to my brain.
I don't know. Is this what we're going to get all episode? Just chaotic, caffeinated Evan? I'm going to need help wrangling him, Brad. You're going to have to wake up.
Absolutely not. No chance.
On this episode
It's
of the
his show now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Evan Lobsinger show.
Oh, God. Buckle up, everybody.
It's going to be a good episode when Evan says buckle up. On this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, we'll be talking to you about the Red Wings game that just happened. Believe it or not, a loss against Ottawa. This is not a recording. Well, I mean, it is a recording. But
We came up with the template 2 episodes ago. I don't even need to be here right now.
We'll be taking a look at where Detroit stands as we come towards the last couple weeks of the season. There have been some acquisitions across the NHL in terms of the Red Wings bringing in a goalie for the rest of this year, which is a little strange. Free agent Ben Meyers did not end up in Detroit or anywhere else. That was supposed to be a front runner. We'll be taking a look at the NHL playoff situation, which does not include the Red Wings.
What?
I know, mathematically eliminated. They were mathematically eliminated as we were in Detroit, which I thought was funny.
That loss was the game?
Well, Washington had won.
Oh, that evening.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we knew before the game started, but then if Washington had lost, Detroit's loss to Columbus would have done it anyway. So it was happening.
And then we'll get into a prospect profile before jumping into overtime. Before that, I want to tell everyone that this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast is a continuation of our, forever support of the Jamie Daniels Foundation, and they're hosting a Comedy Night of Hope on Sunday, May 1st at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak, Michigan. Tickets are as low as $50 and include a meal, either lunch or dinner, depending on the show you go to. The purchase of your ticket goes directly to support a new adolescent substance abuse treatment center that cares for youth regardless of insurance coverage or ability to self-pay. It's a vital lifeline for youth and families in Southeast Michigan. The show features 3 headliner comedians with Craig Shoemaker, Ian Bagg, and Mike Young, and is sponsored by Priority Waste and Cranks Catering. Go to jamiedanielsfoundation.org to find out more and purchase your tickets. Wings Money on the Board update. We have hit the $15,000 mark on this season. So through the 3 special events alone, 2 the Winged Wheel Podcast nights and the other special event that was in January, I believe, you have all helped raise over $15,000 already for the Jamie Daniels Foundation through this season for Wings Money on the Board. And, we were talking to our partner in this, Prashant Iyer, and that's not even counting the season-long pledges. So some of you made pledges for Wings Money on the Board that counted across the entire 21-22 season. We haven't tallied those up and collected donations yet. So we have a real chance of hitting that $20,000 goal. So if you want to know more about that, wingedwheelpodcast.com/blog and check the Wings money on the board post. And there's a giveaway coming out. 10 lower bowl tickets are going to be given away to any random person who pledges that has a season-long 2021-2022 NHL season pledge on Wings money on the board. So if you haven't made a pledge, you have a chance now. We're going to be drawing on Friday and giving away 10 lower bowl tickets. So thank you to the kind donor of those tickets who sent those along, and we're going to put them to good use to raise some good money for the foundation. The Detroit Red Wings played their, third game in 12 days against the Ottawa Senators. The first two results were 5-2 and 5-2. This one was not 5-2. It was 4-1 Ottawa, although it was 2-1 until very late in the game.
So at least they only lost this one by 3.
They only lost this one by 3. Oh, hold on. I'm no mathematician, but that one's not adding up. Yeah, the Red Wings played, I don't know, this one wasn't like, they didn't get blown out by Ottawa, but I felt like they beat themselves. That was my takeaway at the end. There was just too few strong points, and this looked like a beleaguered team that was making mistakes. And, I don't know.
This looked like a team that knew they had nothing to play for.
Put a fork in it.
Ottawa didn't have a good game either.
No.
They were just less bad. Probably the worst overall game of passing I've seen from the Red Wings. Like, they were hitting everything but each other's sticks. Yeah, shots were missed in the net. Like, it's game 70, whatever. It's understandable. You're going to have a few of these. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for all the other stinkers that have accumulated over the season. But once again, they expanded their NHL record goals allowed into an empty net. So, if you're going to be boring, at least be historic.
The 2 gifted goals to Tim Stützle in the empty net were a little insulting, especially because, it was held off the scoreboard before that. It was the usual Red Wings killer of Austin Watson, who scored previously. Why can't the Red Wings stop Austin Watson? What's that about?
I've got nothing. I have absolutely nothing on that one.
I thought that was again, this always comes with the qualifier of no, not perfect, but I thought that was a really good game from Moritz Seider in terms of standing out and being one of the only guys to do something on the ice. Funny enough, his hit on Erik Brannstrom, which was a big hit. Brannstrom was like kind of falling and Seider just leveled him. And it was, oh man, you'd love to see it. I think the right play there actually would have been playing the puck, because Brannstrom still got that shot off. Like, honestly, good play. Yeah. Credit to Brannstrom for sacrificing the body and getting the shot off, but maybe playing the puck there would have been better. But overall, I think a good game from Seider. We saw more confidence from Michael Rasmussen as well.
Yeah, he almost had a really nice one that he drew a penalty on. Don't know if that was a power play the Red Wings scored on or not, but he didn't show a lot this game, but you still saw enough of the flashes that we've been seeing for the last month or so. So, in a game like that, you take whatever small victories you can. And obviously Rasmussen getting a couple quality chances that he created for himself mostly is definitely a big positive.
The Moritz Seider reverse hit. Do these guys just not watch tape? That is the easiest. If you're a video coach listening to this and you're playing against the Red Wings, tell your players Moritz Seider knows you're there. He knows you're there. I promise you, he knows you're there. He's goading you in. He's like that fish in the deep sea that has that little lantern hanging in front of it. He's just goading you in, and then he's gonna level you. And that was Joseph too.
Was it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Which was funny.
That makes it that much better.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Seider had that. Okay, the Bertuzzi goal on the point off the Seider point shot. It did get tipped, but was Seider shooting for the pass off the backboards there?
Don't think so.
I don't think so either. But
he was shooting for Sundqvist.
Who got the tip off? Was it Sundqvist or one of the Sens?
I think it was Sundqvist who was standing there.
Still, it was like for a second you're like, oh my God, did Seider just pull that off? Because it wouldn't have been the first time that he shot for the pass this year.
If he was shooting for the pass, that puck would not have left the ice. But when that got to Sundqvist, that was about hip high. And yeah, obviously once it hits the boards, it's going to slow down. You know, gravity takes over. So it was on the ice by the time it got to Bertuzzi, which is fine. But yeah, no, it's not anything special to do. A lot of good players do it, but on those plays, you don't shoot wide. You shoot short side. You shoot to the strong side of the player tipping it. So he shot it to Sundqvist's forehand. And the fact that he didn't shoot it wide meant even if it missed or Sundqvist didn't get it, the puck wasn't going into Narnia. It was going to be in a playable area, and it worked out. So good play.
And good release by Bertuzzi as well. Right place, right time.
Yeah, it's not like you put a bar down or anything like that.
That's his spot, eh? Like that weird like side circle from the net, like that he does really well there. Either dishing it out or getting the puck on net. He's really effective in that spot.
There's one player who I can remember in the last 10 years that has made a living from that spot, and it's James Van Riemsdyk. It's the JVR spot, and Bertuzzi's kind of taking it over.
Good for him, yeah. And honestly, okay, let's think about what we've seen from the Red Wings for the last little while. The Suter, Vrana, Zadina line has been the only one that's really been super exciting. Funny enough, of the Larkin, Bertuzzi, Raymond line, I think Raymond in his rookie season has shown the most energy of late. It looks like Larkin and somewhat Bertuzzi are battling through stuff, or they're not completely on form.
Well, Larkin has barely, if not at all, practiced in the last month. Mm-hmm. He is definitely hurting. Bertuzzi, there hasn't been anything noted about injuries. So, but to be fair, Bertuzzi just always looks tired when he plays. He looks like every shift is just a struggle. That's just his style.
Because he gives it like 300%.
And he falls a lot.
It was like 2 minutes into the game and he's like diving full sprawl, like NHL, you press L1 and R1 at the same time for the puck. Like at the other team's blue line, just trying to get a little bit of a tip on it. And I love that. I love that from Tyler Bertuzzi. But he goes balls to the wall from whistle to whistle every game.
Yeah. That's just his style. So I can't read too much into it at this point. That's just who he is as a hockey player. And yeah, Rimmond's been good, as he usually is.
Yeah. Still really close to that rookie points lead. He's like 3 points off Bunting or something. So he's up there. And of course, Moritz Seider is as well. So the Red Wings have played 73 games. They have 9 games left. We're coming up towards the end of the season here for them. Here are their upcoming games. On Thursday and Saturday, Carolina and the New York Rangers. And Sunday as well, Florida. So it's Carolina.
God. Yeah. Oh, no.
That's a little bit of a ringer. And Carolina, Rangers on the road. Florida, just over 24 hours later from the Rangers game at home.
Oh, no.
Yeah, both of those matinee games. And that's all before next episode. And then after that, they have Tampa, Florida, Pittsburgh.
They might lose every game down the stretch here.
After that,
So we're picking 8th, Evan, not 9th.
That's right.
After that, they have New Jersey, Toronto, New Jersey. So two of their...
Oh, maybe not.
2 of their last 9 games are not against teams where I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up in the conference finals.
The Red Wings?
No, their opponents.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I'm not funny, and so I don't get your jokes.
Of all those teams that you mentioned off that aren't New Jersey, the worst of them put up an 11 spot on the Red Wings a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, actually. 2 of those teams have scored 10 or more against the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Terrible.
This season, in the last couple months.
The only hope is that those teams just load manage their big guns and the Red Wings have any sort of chance. That basically is like Huberto only plays 15 minutes instead of 20.
Which they should do, or they should be playing the backups a little bit more. Like, they shouldn't get Vasilevsky.
Oh, good. We get Spencer Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs his first career hat trick too, right?
That's right.
With Toronto, isn't it a bad thing if we get their backup? Because that can only be an upgrade at this point.
I'm fairly certain Detroit shares goalies when Toronto comes into town. That's where they're at right now. With that team with their goaltending. And I can never keep track. They're either like this $8 million goaltender is playing like garbage, or this like random schlup off the street or out of the stands has like a 927. He's all of a sudden the Calder favorite.
they're showing the starting goalies before the games. And in net for the Detroit Red Wings, it's Alex Nedeljkovic. And at the other end for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Max Bultman.
Max is like, oh, shit. So the Red Wings right now are sitting 24th overall in the league, which puts them at 9th in terms of draft. That's before lottery. So 9th best odds, and they'd be drafting 9th as of today. Buffalo is behind them with one fewer points. So Red Wings are sitting at 66. Buffalo has 65.
How many games do they have in hand?
But Red Wings have 2 games in hand on Buffalo.
Oh, we have games in hand on them.
Yes.
Yeah, but the games in hand. Carolina, Rangers, Florida, Tampa, Toronto.
So here's the thing. The teams behind the Red Wings, I'll go down to 59 points. That's a 7-point difference. I think that's insane. I don't think that'll
not happen.
No.
You're expecting a bad team to make up 7 points.
Yeah. So that's Buffalo with 65, Ottawa with 60, Chicago with 59, and New Jersey with 58, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, it's not happening.
But look at the points percentages. Detroit at 452, and the next closest is Buffalo at 433, and then Ottawa at 411, and then Chicago is 404. Everyone below that is below 400. The Red Wings are gonna have 8th or 9th best odds in this draft lottery.
Yeah,
in all likelihood.
Because even if you look ahead of them, the teams have a lead with games in hand, if I'm not mistaken. So,
and really, what the hell is the difference in moving up one spot at this point? Like a percentage? I mean, that's literally the kiss of death, right? Me saying that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
But it's like, okay, Buffalo jumps you. You're, instead of being 5.4%, you're 6.9%.
Yeah, if you look at last year's odds, I think this was last year's odds. Red Wings right now, if they move up one spot, it's from 5.4 to 5.8.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
6.7.
I guess really it's only the fact that you've almost, I'll say, quote unquote, secured your spot.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably going to move down 1 or 2.
No, what's going to happen is the Red Wings are going to pick 9 because they're going to win the last game against New Jersey or whatever to vault Buffalo again. And then Matt Savoy will slip and Buffalo will take him at 8. That's what's going to happen.
It is comforting to know that the Red Wings in 2 drafts where I'm like, I wish they would have won the lottery, ended up picking the best, if not like a top 2 player from those drafts in Raymond Insider. Top 2 or 3, depending on how much anyone wants to argue. So it is what it is. We knew this. There's 2 factors leading into this, right? The Red Wings had an incredibly hot, overperforming start at the beginning of the year because no one was injured. Everyone was lights out, and they had stellar goaltending, especially from Alex Nedeljkovic. And the reason they haven't been able to drop lower is because this year has been very top and bottom heavy overall in the NHL. The star teams are the star teams and the bums are the bums. Like if you look at the wildcard standings in the East, you have Boston and Washington with 95 and 92 points. And then the first non-wildcard team are the New York Islanders with 77.
Here's how set the Eastern Conference playoff race is. Do you know who the last team to be in a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference was that isn't currently in a playoff spot?
The Red Wings.
It was the Red Wings.
So
remember how long ago the Red Wings fell out of the playoff spot? Nobody has jumped in since. It's been those 8 teams.
And if you look at the league standings, Arizona's in the West, Montreal's in the East, Seattle's in the West, Philly East, New Jersey East, Ottawa and Buffalo both East, and Chicago's in the West. It was going to end up this way. We've seen this for a long time coming, and that's why the whole pain for Shane Wright thing is if you want to, whatever string or chit you're going to pull with the gods to get this one, you're going to have to do it from 8th or 9th regardless for the Red Wings.
Yeah, you better really hope that Frank Nazar's a center.
Let's do a draft lottery. Let's do a tankathon. Okay. Why not? Let's sim it. 3, 2, 1. And the Red Wings move down 2 spots to 11th.
There we go. All that pain for all that reward.
I will say
Wait, how did they move down 2 spots?
In this simulation, San Jose moved up 8 spots and the Islanders moved up 9 spots.
That's literally,
oh my God.
That's literally the worst case scenario for the NHL. And then Arizona's 3rd?
Arizona's first. It's Arizona, San Jose,
Montreal.
I'm
sorry. I thought those were the first 2.
Oh, no. Sorry. Arizona, San Jose, Montreal.
I'd say, Ryan, I was having a good day, but I haven't been. You're just adding to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. You look bummed. Oh, and I just did it again. Anaheim moved up 10th. Detroit's been in 11th both times. I'm going to stop doing this. Folks, don't sim draft lotteries. This isn't a fun experience. So, again,
what did we talk about before the episode?
What?
When I said I'm not touching that damn website until the draft.
Even then, it's probably best to avoid it. I mean, then there's your case to drop as low as you can just to try and stay in the top 10. Anyhow. Let's move on to other Red Wings news. Actually, no. Last 9 games, prediction, win-loss record.
2-7.
Straight up 2-7.
New Jersey twice.
2-7, but neither of those wins come from New Jersey.
You want to know what I say?
Some dumb shit like 6-3.
No, 4-3-2.
There's no way. There's no way.
Still a losing record. I think Toronto's going to choke it because it's Toronto. No, Toronto's had Detroit's number this year. 2 wins against the Devils, maybe 1 against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't know. Probably ambitious. Not that I necessarily want it to happen. Anyhow, today the Detroit Red Wings signed goalie Magnus Hellberg out of the KHL. He has some NHL experience, some.
4 games.
To a 1-year contract. And the initial reaction for that was...
We call it a 1-year contract. That feels disingenuous.
Well, that's the thing. The initial reaction was, okay, you signed him to a 1-year deal. This is for depth. Looking at his statistics, he's 31 years old. You're like, oh, probably AHL. And then we got confirmation, and Max Bultman of the Athletic Detroit confirmed it. This isn't a 1-year contract for next year. This is a contract for the remainder of this season.
All 9 games of it.
So I don't know if there's an injury, if this is like sending him down to the A because Pickard, whatever it might be. It is kind of interesting. Let's preface this by saying he's not a needle mover. This isn't some monumental thing for the organization. This is like filling in spots or depth as you need to just close out the season. And obviously Hellberg is coming in and essentially doing a favor.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it was kind of like, oh, you came in for 9 games. This is kind of notable.
Do we have confirmation? Is he even AHL eligible at this point in this season?
I'm pretty sure he is, like, to play in the playoffs, but I don't have those rules in front of me. So if we have that wrong, someone correct us. But from what I've asked around, and we're pretty sure that he is AHL eligible.
Okay, because there's only 2 reasons this signing makes any sense. The first one being the most likely, and what we've already alluded to, Pickard's hurt in the AHL. It's probably not a good injury. That team's actually going to play in the playoffs, and they need, more than one guy to parade out there in order to play. So if it's Brattstrom and Hellberg, okay. Or this is an audition. Hey, we don't have Thomas Greiss next year. You want to be our backup? Okay. We're going to give you 9 games to see what you got.
Here's Florida, Tampa, Pittsburgh, New York.
Yeah, it's not fair to him, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Because, to be fair, like his AHL numbers and KHL numbers over his career have been stellar. He's been really, really good at those levels. So, again, I don't expect anything from a 31-year-old free agent goalie.
Yeah.
But he's 6'6" and put up really, really good numbers in the next 2 best leagues in the world. There's at least a partial chance that he's okay. Like maybe he could turn into a Mikko Koskinen, which is a serviceable NHL backup for cheap.
Same contract.
But yeah, so it's either it's confusing because it's for 9 games or however many games the Griffins have left. But again, it doesn't affect anything.
So former 2nd-round pick of the Nashville Predators for whom he played 1 game. And he played 2 games for the Rangers. Here are his last 5 seasons in terms of save percentage in the KHL. 926, 940, 927, 930, and 917.
Does he play on one of the good KHL teams, though? Because don't the good ones basically just dummy everybody else?
One of those seasons was for the Kunlun Red Star.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That is now impressive.
This season is for Sochi. 3 of them were for St. Petersburg, SKA. So
then they're a wagon. So, but yeah, he did it with Red Star. And then if you keep going through his AHL numbers before that, they weren't bad.
No, not at all. He had 1 season below a 911 save percentage in the AHL.
That's it.
Yeah. So again, is this anything to write home about? No. Is it really interesting? Just even from like a transaction standpoint? Yeah. He's going to have to clear waivers to come in.
We'll find out who's pissed at the Red Wings around the league right now.
Yeah, I don't think this is a Harry Sateri situation where
I honestly, the fact that Sateri got claimed by multiple teams, like multiple teams put in a claim, I can't say for sure Hellberg would clear. Weird. It's been a weird year.
With Sateri, I actually came up, I think it was on this podcast where I said, I don't think teams did it just to spite Toronto. Like, I think that's just like reactionary. But then apparently there was information that they actually did.
Why the hell not?
Just to piss off Toronto. Can you imagine you're at like 40, like one contract away, 49 or whatever it is from your contract limit for the season, and you use that last slot just to piss off Kyle Dubas? You kind of have to respect it.
Well, if you have the cap space in the contract slots, if you're Florida, Tampa, and Boston, yeah, why not? You're screwing over a team you might play in the first round. This could be a solution for them that you are now taking away. Now, Arizona just happened to actually need a goalie when that happened. So
right. Poor guy thinks he's coming in to play for Toronto, might play in the playoffs, push for the cup, and ends up playing in a university stadium. That I think the Arizona capacity will be lower than 4,000 after they make the adjustments they need to for TV and stuff.
Oh, God.
I love that story.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. It's something special.
Read that. Now we can add a little more context to the Magnus Hellberg conversation.
Magnus Hellberg on signing with Detroit, and this is courtesy of our friend Ice Hockey Gifts on Twitter. Detroit's only got 9 games left and will miss the playoffs. That's right, I become a free agent after that. Will you play with the Red Wings in the NHL or Grand Rapids in the AHL? It will be in the NHL. So that's confirmation that Hellberg is coming in and playing in the NHL.
This has to be a tryout then, right?
Yeah, must be.
This has to be, I want to play in the NHL next year. This is the best shot I have to prove that I can play in the NHL.
Oh, God, this is the best opportunity.
Oh, if he lights this up, he's a starting goalie for next year. Trade away Sebastian Cossa. If this guy, is a stellar against these,
I want to get into mountaineering. Here's the tallest mountain in the world. I'm going to climb that one first.
It's Kilimanjaro stacked on top of Everest, actually.
Yeah.
And there's a blizzard. Oh, he's a brave man. I don't know. He's over in the K, and he's a Swedish guy. So obviously the Red Wings European scouting contingent must have had eyes on him.
There could be some kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge agreement here too. Like, hey, if you come over and you're not terrible, we'll sign you to X contract for next year or something like that, right?
So are we looking at the potential backup goalie?
Of course we are. Why wouldn't we?
Because it's not like there are a ton of options. If the Red Wings are likely to move on from Greiss, we know that. So who are they going to bring in that's not Greiss? Another Greiss. There's no Nedeljkovic out there. There's no star goalie. It's not like Bobrovsky is a free agent this year.
Yeah, so odds are the Red Wings are not going to be super aggressive in the goalie trade market to bring in someone like a Yurov, hypothetically, to back up Nedeljkovic. So got to assume that's off the table. So then it comes to down to a free agent signing, and generally for a backup goalie, you're not going to pay them a lot. So that narrows the window to two types of free agent goalie signings. The aging veteran that you know is at least half decent and is going to give you very average to mediocre goaltending, a la Thomas Greiss, Brian Elliott, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Or you take a chance on a guy who's shown really well elsewhere in the world and you pray he doesn't suck. Mikko Koskinen comes to mind on that one. Don't know if there's many more examples beyond that. I'm sure there are, but they're not coming to my head right now. When you're the Red Wings, well, yeah, you're in a position where it's probably worth a gamble, because if Hellberg is something, he's either A, going to push Nedeljkovic or be a solution in net for a few years because he's only 31, or he's going to get you a hell of a return for a team that needs a goalie come playoff time.
Or he comes in, is sufficient. There's no other options that are like really too sexy in front of him. You get him for cheap. He's good for you for like 20 something games, falls off a cliff. You waive him and you bring in whoever else off waivers, free agency. Like
Harry Sateri, come on down.
And then Toronto claims him because he'd gone back to Europe by then or something.
Yeah.
So there's just, again, I don't think this moves the needle in the end. I think the most exciting thing is we maybe just got eyes on, or are going to get eyes on the Red Wings, backup for next year, or their third string goalie for next year. Who knows?
Yeah. Either way, the fact that he says it's in the NHL is at least notable.
It's at least notable. That's the Red Wings. Anything else on Detroit? What's coming up?
Well, we already know what's coming up.
Pain.
Oh, and why don't we do Ben Meyers right now? So Ben Meyers is the
He's dead.
dead to you, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, see you later.
Yeah.
That was the most pissed off I've seen you in the group chat before.
Was it?
I mean, you've never said anyone's dead to you before.
That can't possibly be true.
Yeah, I don't know why I would lie like that. That was just I can't even think of an example, and I know that was.
And I can't think of it either, and I know that's definitely not true. But continue.
So Ben Meyers out of Minnesota, center, maybe honestly was playing a lot of center, and we thought maybe could fill in that spot for Detroit. The most coveted NCAA free agent now that season is over. Minnesota and Detroit were the leading teams to bring him in. And then there was a little bit of a delay. If you remember last episode, we recorded it on Sunday, and we thought he'll have signed by tonight, and we'll have to put something up. But he met with I think more than a dozen teams, and ended up signing with the poor Colorado Avalanche. So the Avalanche bring him in. That is one hell of a depth piece to add to the team.
All this has taught me is that Meyers is the Kevin Durant of NCAA hockey.
Yeah. I mean, he can't play in the playoffs this year.
Doesn't matter. And
if he plays, the 9 games or whatever, he'll have to burn a year of his ELC, but it is a 2-year deal.
Doesn't matter. Still a coward. Not actually, but
it was fun. It was fun to think about it while it lasted.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the last time. What was another time where the Red Wings were in on the top name free agent? I mean, the top coveted one, because the only one
Danny DeKeyser?
Is it Danny DeKeyser?
It's Danny DeKeyser.
Is it that far back you have to go?
Yeah.
Because they brought in Taro Hirose and was it Kuffner?
Yeah.
But
they were not the top, but they were
notable.
They were some of the better options available that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny when you look over the last 10 years or whatever it is of all the unrestricted free agents to come out of college hockey. Man, DeKeyser might have been the biggest success story of them all. So
it could have been better.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Adam Fox got really close, but didn't. But yeah, it's
Well, the Ben Meyers saga is over. I don't know how we're ever going to continue. On to the next one.
By understanding that over the last 10 years, Danny DeKeyser has been the best college free agent to come out. So
Okay, we're going to jump into some more prospect and NHL broad news. But before we do that, I do want to tell you that this episode of the Winged Wheel podcast is proudly brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook, a sponsor that gives Red Wings fans what we desperately need right now, even more excitement in the game. There's so many reasons why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. They're simple to use with great odds on different betting markets, giving you more action every game day. There are tons of fun with unique bet types like same game parlay and exclusive promos on the biggest events. And when you win, you get your winnings back safely in as little as 24 hours. Now listen to this. FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. No strings attached. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you get the $1,000 back in site credit. Now, what we want you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started with that risk-free bet, and be sure to sign up with promo code WWP so they know the Winged Wheel podcast sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code WWP. You must be 21 and older and present in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, West Virginia, Indiana, Colorado, Iowa, Tennessee, Virginia, or Michigan. First online real money wager only. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789, 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia, or call 1-800-270-7117 in Michigan. Okay. Let's take a look at the playoff picture in the NHL. So in the East, anyone outside of the wild card's not in. I know they haven't technically clinched, but
it's not close.
The Eastern Conference teams are Carolina, the Rangers, Pittsburgh, Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay, and the 2 wild cards as of right now are Boston and Washington. No one is bumping anyone out. That's it. It's over. What we're looking at here, though, is a really interesting race, I think, to determine who's going to play who. Because as of right now, what do we have? Carolina
and Florida seem to be pretty firmly established as the division winners, unless something dramatic happens.
So right now it would be Carolina, Boston, and then Florida, Washington.
Although Washington's on a bit of a heater and Pittsburgh's been sliding, so that gap has narrowed significantly.
I would love to see Boston jump Tampa Bay so we get Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Out of the matchup that creates, that's the one you want to see? Oh, I would enjoy the 2 weeks of psychological hell watching Toronto and Boston square off again.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
I want to say it was Jeff who was talking about this, but if Toronto ever wants to do anything, they have to go through Boston. Like that is,
or it'll be in another 5 years. It'll be 5 more years, and then Boston will eventually have to rebuild.
that is running directly back at the sword that killed you like multiple times. That is either the monkey off your back or like Dubas gets fired in the offseason if they lose to Boston. You
have to exercise your demons at some point.
You have to, right? You have to. I get it. They don't technically have to. They can get around them, whatever. But it just feels like for a team with such a storied history of losing when it matters, like Toronto, when they absolutely should have won, Boston is like on the front cover of that book. It's not the same Boston team, though. They don't have David Krejci. Zdeno Chara's not there. The team's a little older. I don't know. I think this version of Boston is... I think previous versions of Boston have been beatable if you're Toronto, but this one has to be your best chance to take him out.
Except they got Hampus Lindholm, who looks real good. Jeremy Swayman could have been a Calder finalist at some point this year.
Probably should be.
Charlie McAvoy continues to be Charlie McAvoy.
Charlie McAvoy is going to be a Norris finalist. Patrice Bergeron's going to win the Selke.
They're going to rename it after him this year.
Brad Marchand is looking at least 4 players on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs.
And we haven't even mentioned David Pastrnak or Taylor Hall yet. Yeah, no, Toronto's going to do great.
Toronto's biggest opponent in the first round of the playoffs is the Toronto Maple Leafs. It doesn't matter who they play, but it being Boston is just way more hilarious.
Okay, you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And I don't want you to be objective. Like, think of all the pain, all the letdown, all like the storylines and everything. Who would you rather play right now? The Boston Bruins or the reigning back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning?
Boston. Run through the wall.
That's what I was thinking too.
Imagine,
you know what? Let's just embrace the pain we already know that we can live through.
I'm sure there's better examples of it, but the situation in recent memory that this reminds me of, or like within the last 20 years, was Vancouver against Chicago in 2011 when they finally got through Chicago in 2011. The momentum, the energy they took out of that first round. They walked all the way to Game 7 of the Cup Finals after that.
Well, the Washington finally beating Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
everyone's like, holy shit, here they finally go. And then they just walk their way through it.
Who scored that Vancouver OT winner?
Alex Burrows.
That was one of the most hyped up goals I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was at the bar. I remember watching that.
Yeah. One of the great calls in NHL history too. It's a great day for an exorcism. That's one of the more underrated series in hockey history too.
So good.
Because Vancouver goes up 3-0 in this series. Chicago comes back 3-3. Vancouver is leading all of Game 7. Jonathan Toews ties it short-handed with like 2 minutes left in Game 7. All leading up to that Game 7 overtime winner. Like crazy. So yeah, getting back to the point, if Toronto can take out Boston and take that Washington, Vancouver, like that energy into it, I'd be hard pressed to believe they're not going to run through at least 2 more rounds because, like, man, you would feel like you could rip a phone book in half after doing that.
Although nothing about Toronto other than them losing in Game 7 is predictable.
What's Toronto's storyline this year? Obviously, Austin Matthews is having one of the most impressive scoring seasons in the modern era, and that matters. But then you have what? Okay, Mitch Marner's stellar. Mitch Marner's stellar every year, but what matters now is what Mitch Marner do you get in the playoffs? What are they going to do in net? You know, how's their goaltending going to show up? Are they going to get Jeremy Swayman? Are they going to get goalied?
They just need to catch lightning in a bottle for
they really a month
do or whatever.
They really do. And, you know, I have no sympathy for Toronto. Like, yes, the Atlantic is a Thunderdome, but they've had many cracks at the can where the competition was way weaker. But this year especially, it's like you have Matthews playing his best, you have Marner playing his best. You don't have the goaltending situation you want, but then every one of your opponents is just like the juggernaut embodied.
Toronto should be a favorite versus whoever they go in against, but until they beat someone, they're not.
New York Tampa is going to be an excellent, or sorry, New York Pittsburgh is going to be an excellent series.
If that's what it ends up being.
If that's what it ends up being.
I almost would argue New York Washington may be better because of their history.
Yes.
It's going to be one of those two series, and either one's going to be a bang.
And there's a bit of bad blood because Nick Dowd plays on Washington, right?
Yeah.
There's just the sucker punch from Crosby. You know, they're going to be hyping that up. Yeah, it could turn into a series I would enjoy.
Yeah.
But hear me out.
Violence.
The New York Rangers and Artemi Panarin against the Washington Capitals.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking
and
about?
Tom Wilson.
Oh, yeah. You didn't
Oh, God. Yeah, it's a CTE.
I just feel... I hope the mics picked that up.
Junior hockey was rough on you.
Yeah.
He went to Guelph. Of course it was.
It was Fight Club.
He got CTE from not even from the hockey. It was from going to, what's that place that's like 4 different bars?
Trappers.
Yeah, from Trappers after.
Yeah.
That place is a zoo. I went there once. I barely survived.
It's disgusting.
It's awful. Yeah. Do not. It's like Phil's. It's just so bad.
In the West is a super interesting race. You have Colorado, who is cemented atop the Central. Minnesota and St. Louis are fighting it out with 96 points each behind them. And then you have Calgary, who's atop the Pacific with 99 points. And then behind them, you have Edmonton and LA. You also have Vegas and Vancouver. Let's actually look at the divisional standings here rather than the wild card.
The Central's easy because Colorado's winning the division and Minnesota and St. Louis are playing each other in the first round, and they're just playing for home ice at this point.
Yeah.
Dallas and Nashville are not catching them. And
they're Dallas and Nashville are fighting for that wild card spot.
And Calgary is winning the Pacific. Nobody's catching them. Edmonton looks to be pretty comfortable in that second Pacific Division seed now, since they've been good since Jay Woodcroft took over.
They could lose that to LA, who's only 2 points behind. Edmonton has a game in hand. I mean, anything can happen over the last 8 games, but they should keep that.
They should keep it. And LA's Doughty's out for the season now too, right? So Vegas is right on LA's heels, and that almost feels like more of a playoff battle than for the wild card spots, because I think Vegas is the whatever you want to call 9th seed in the West right now, and they've got a better chance of catching LA than they do catching Dallas or Nashville for the wild card spots.
You say they're the 9th seed in the West? Oh, in the West. Sorry, not their division. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, Vegas is 3 points behind, but they have a game in hand. The 2 wild card spots right now are held by Nashville and Dallas, both at 73 games played. Nashville has 89 points and Dallas has 88. Vegas, Vancouver, and Winnipeg's not making it in. So
Winnipeg's out of it.
Thanks to Detroit for the most part.
Yeah,
and Vancouver's at a 5.4% chance to make it, so they're out of it.
So Vegas has 85 points, Vancouver has 82. I don't think Vancouver's going to make it, but just for the sake of it. The Pacific is making this interesting.
It's that third Pacific slot that is really up for grabs right now.
Like, you can get any kind of configuration here of matchups in that first round. And Vegas, with everything with Jack Eichel, they're getting Mark Stone off LTIR now.
Yeah, he played last night.
Yeah, so it's...
I hope it's too little, too late.
You're rooting against Vegas?
Absolutely. I don't know, just something about them rubs me the wrong way right now.
A lot of people don't like them, and you know what? As a guy who doesn't like when people don't like things for no reason, I do understand this one. They've had a weird history with how they handle players. They've had a weird history with how they handle personnel. I don't know, as a team that sucks right now, like, you hate to watch a team come in and experience no pain and no loss, and they just keep adding elite players.
Well, they just keep doing like aggressive move after aggressive move, and it finally is starting to catch up, and it's like, good.
You don't get to have...
I don't feel bad for other teams' pain.
There has to be a price on the other side of the ledger at some point. It's just been spend, acquire.
Sounds like our economy.
In this economy? Yeah, that's what Vegas has been. Okay. Nashville, Dallas, Vegas, LA. Who do you want to see in?
I'd like it to stay as it is right now.
Yeah.
Vegas needs to experience the pain, and I don't like their methodology for building a team, because they should be good right now. And let's be honest, they would be good. They have been probably the most unlucky team for injuries this year, them in Montreal. They have missed multiple significant players for significant amounts of time this season. So it's kind of like, the karma coming back to it. And they did not acquire young players. So having a season completely wasted is not a small deal in Vegas. So they'll still be good for a couple more years. So I'm not like it's now or never, but I like seeing the teams that rebuild the proper way get rewarded for it. And LA has done it.
Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. But no, like LA is my example here for that. They rebuilt properly.
Fast though. I will say they had a good turnaround. They had some luck.
They had a bit of luck, and you have to get luck. And, we can look at LA as a pretty good comparison for Detroit. Now, we didn't have the lottery luck they did, but you can argue it's luck that, the Red Wings got two cornerstone pieces, Seider and Raymond, where they did in the draft. So that's obviously good scouting, but at the same point, those players have to get to you.
Yeah.
Calgary's done like a really good job too, building their team, and then they made the big splash for Markstrom when they knew that their team was coming up. And like this year, they've got like 7 guys on their team who have over 20 goals. So like they're getting it from everywhere.
And they made the right moves. They were patient with the players they needed to be patient with, and they didn't overcommit to the players that they should. Like, Mark Giordano was the captain of their team, and Seattle's like, we want a first and a third to not take him. And they're like,
see you later.
He's 38. No, of course not. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like,
I still can't believe how Seattle played that.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You have to try to ask for the same prices, but everyone wised up. Why would you hold? Like, just they essentially,
something.
Yeah, they blew this season. And then they're like half-assing with like now reacquiring picks again. I don't know. I just don't like the way Ron Francis ran that. I agree though. I would like to see LA make it. Vegas, Nashville, Dallas. Like, I understand what you're saying about Vegas. I think watching Mark Stone and Jack Eichel in the playoffs would be cool. I always want the better.
Do it next year.
Yeah, well,
they need their moment.
More than anything, I just want Calgary, Edmonton in the second round.
Yes, very much. Yes,
like that's all I care about.
Didn't Leon Draisaitl say something like, "I wouldn't want to play us in the first round" or something stupid?
God. Man, who is about to lose in the first round?
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah,
I mean McDavid against LA's defense, though. I think they got a pretty good chance to get to the second round.
Yes, fair. It's just like, I don't know, Toronto has always had a pretty good chance. If you had to pick one team in the West, it's Toronto. It doesn't exist, but the closest thing is Edmonton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's in the playoffs. Yes,
they feel fragile at best.
Yeah. The theme of this episode is laughing at pain and ignoring our own.
That's how we're gonna get through these next 9 games.
Ryan, you can't hurt what is already dead.
That's absolutely true. All right. Well, we're going to keep an eye on those playoff races. And, man, I do miss playoff hockey. I love this time of year every year. And this is the first year where it's felt normal.
Without knowing the finalized standings, give me who you think will be in the finals.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's a rematch of 96. Going to jump on a real big limb there.
Michael Bunting was only 14 then. Wait, who was 96? Who did you say?
Colorado, Florida.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say Calgary, Tampa Bay, with Calgary taking it.
Oh, a rematch of 04.
Yeah, because Tampa.
Jesus, of course.
This guy, I actually knew the 04 one.
Yeah, because that was like one of the greatest cup finals we've seen in our lifetime.
The puck was in. The puck was in.
Oh, that was that one.
Net.
Yep.
Yeah.
Martin Jelena scored. You cannot tell me otherwise. Don't tell me about parallax. I know about parallax. Okay. I think it's Calgary, Tampa Bay, and I don't think Tampa Bay has the legs to make it 3 in a row. That's my prediction. And when we have an opportunity to predict again at the end of the season, I will make a different one.
Yep.
I make the rules.
Same. I'm already thinking of my next answer.
Yes. You're hypocrites. Yeah. We go on a podcast twice a week.
I contradict myself twice every sentence.
Just because of the conversation we had, Evan's going to pick Toronto and Edmonton.
Yeah.
I would go right now. I would say Calgary, Florida. But if there's going to be if I got to pick a dark horse team, I'm taking Minnesota.
Oh, that's interesting.
Get them. They get some home ice advantage. Playoffs are weird. You get some home ice advantage. People in Minnesota are nuts. The Barnes going to be rocking. Their team's looking really good. So maybe they could make some magic happen.
In the 21st century, Minnesota has beat Colorado in a Game 7 in overtime in Colorado twice. I'm just saying.
I knew that.
That could be their kryptonite.
I didn't.
I did not know that.
Andrew, that was when Andrew Burnett sent Patrick Waugh to retirement, and then there was that Niederreiter one from a few years ago.
Yes.
Right. I do remember the Niederreiter one. Man, if Bill Guerin comes in and is able to like make this weird like one flux year where they're kind of floating in the ether before the impending cap pain, which doesn't kick in until next season, work and like makes a cup final run out of it, that will be impressive as hell, and that'll cement his job as an NHL GM for years and years and years.
And then everybody looks at his salary cap situation next year and goes, "Oh wait, maybe not."
And they'll say it was worth it. You got to crack at the cup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure.
But I mean, they have to make it there first. Okay, we have time for a prospect profile here. It's about time that we talk about actual NHL draft prospects. So 2022 NHL draft. Today's prospect is out of Metallurg Magnitogorsk.
Oh, yes.
Evan loves that name so much.
The city where Europe meets Asia.
That's the city's motto.
Never forget that, ladies and gentlemen.
As we always say.
When traveling to Metallurg Magnitogorsk, just remember, yes, where Europe meets Asia.
Give us the tourism breakdown of Magnitogorsk.
Yeah.
Evan?
Their city color is gray.
Oh boy. All right. Danila Yurov is the prospect, the winger out of Magnitogorsk. Brad, take us away here.
Oh, I love Danila Yurov as a player. The only negative thing I could say about him really in a draft context is he's a winger. He has a very, very complete game, does not lack skill, and has very high hockey IQ. The big question with Yurov is he's in a late 03 birthday, so the overagers. So again, not comparing him to the rest of the draft class isn't apples to apples. And he spent most of the year in the MHL in Russia, which is not the easiest league to scout out of. And, results and everything do tend to make it a little more complicated. And in his stints in the KHL where he played 3 minutes a game, he basically did nothing. So there's those question marks around him, but yeah, he processes the game and makes plays at a very high pace. He's got a great shot, great hands, can skate, competes hard. He's a player that if you don't love watching him play hockey, I don't know why you watch hockey. Like he's everything you want, but he's a winger, and there's a lot of questions around translatability from Russia to the NHL. Is Yurov going to be a good NHLer? I can say pretty confidently, probably yes. That could be on any of the four lines, though, and I don't know where that ceiling is. Now, based on what we've seen, I'm going to say that's in the top 6, and I'd say that's likely in the top 6. But we don't know. It's Russia. We've always had these complications drafting guys like Yurov out of Russia. So, that little bit of a wild card factor because of scouting complications is there. And then there's the whole political complications that I'm not going to get into. But he could be one of the big wild cards of the top 10, maybe even the first round.
He's an interesting prospect to me. Like you said, Brad, if you don't like watching him play, I'm not sure that you like hockey. And I thought that was a really good way to put it because his game is almost like a prototypical good hockey player's game. Fast, strong, skilled, decisive. Like he does a lot of everything. I don't think he's a superstar in the making. I know oftentimes when you only talk about positive attributes, you're like, Ryan, Brad, Evan, you've only said good things about this guy. Why is he not first overall? None of those skills really stand out to me as like superstar level.
Exactly.
But to me, he's already what, like 6'2", 6'1", 6'2". He's got his size. He's not really had a big cup of tea in the KHL. So that does bring in some concern for me for how much will this translate over to the pro game against grown men? But the MHL is no joke. And he's done well with every test that he's had.
And it's worth noting, he's dominated the MHL this year.
Yes. Yeah. He's not looked bad at any point. It's legitimately just about how much is this going to sustain if he gets drafted and if he comes to the NHL. I can't even give any mind to like the whole Russia thing. I don't know how teams are going to handle that. I didn't even think the whole, barring Russians and Belarusians from the, CHL selection draft was the right move anyways, and they went that direction. So I have very clearly no read on that geopolitical situation. But yeah, that's where Yurov is. Yes, he's a winger, but shit, you look at the kind of players that Steve Yzerman likes. Fast, strong, skilled.
We'll take anybody.
Yeah, he's good in space. He's good in corners. He'll win puck battles. He can retain the puck. He's decent playmaking. Like, this is the kind of guy who, I don't know, he would fit in well. Does the team need more wingers? They sure love centers, but can't talk about a center every episode.
Yeah, this is going to come down to, this is where the draft's going to get really interesting, and a lot of conversations are going to be had that are stupid and make no sense, but are going to be the biggest talking point of the draft because it's very relevant. I'm going into this draft of the mindset, looking at the Red Wings system and everything right now. The Red Wings need a center. They have a top 10 pick in a center deep draft. They need to take a damn center. Like, how else are you going to get this center? How many times have we had that question? Where the hell is the solution at second line center coming? And we never have a good answer.
Hey, don't spoil 1/3 of our offseason content, man.
But if we're sitting here and the Red Wings are picking 9th or 10th or 11th, and
it just went down to 12th.
Yeah, and then Cooley, Savoy, Nazer, they're all gone, and you're like, I like Danila Yurov way more than Connor Geekie. Do you do it? Or do you need the center that badly? And it's a very relevant conversation that's going to be had. And, I've always been the believer, best player available, and I would probably stick to that here. But eventually you need to draft a center.
Yeah, I'm probably still taking best player available. If it's a tie, then I would look at position. It's getting a little bit more dire, but the Red Wings are still ways away, and centers could materialize in some fashion. We somehow materialized the starting goalie this year, so that was cool.
You can just do anything if you put your mind to it, and also you're Steve Yzerman.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, Yurov, I like him because you're going to get an NHL player out of it. Whether you get a fourth line or a top 6 forward is yet to be determined, but, ideally, he would be a top 6 guy who plays some power play time and gets some points up and down the lineup. Like, coaches like that. He's highly modular. It's really going to depend on who's kind of sitting on the board wherever the Red Wings end up drafting at 11.
Yeah, it's funny because last year I would have probably said something similar where I was like, this year does feel a little bit more dire. And Evan was the one saying they'll probably take Edvinsson because he fits their bill and they probably think he's best player available if McTavish is off the board. And Evan was right. And this year I find myself saying, okay, but now it actually does feel more dire.
Yeah,
and
there wasn't a lot of centers last year. Like we knew that going in, so we were very braced for but there's a ton of centers this year. It's just how good do you think they are? The irony of this all being is I think with his toolkit and his skill set, Yurov would be a great center. He's got the prototypical mold of what would make a good center, but he's never played center. And you're not going to shoot. Hey, listen, I know you've been a winger since you were 4 years old, but now that you're at the hardest league in the world, we're going to change positions. So I'm not saying, he's going to transition to center. He's not. He's a winger.
That's Hellberg coming in to play the hardest 9 games of his life.
Yeah, honestly. But so it's going to be fascinating because I think legitimately I could see Yurov going anywhere from top 5 to 20. Like it's going to be absolutely fascinating.
Unfortunately, I think you do have to factor in the geopolitical landscape in all of this. And It's not his fault at all that he's a Russian-born player, but there will be bias towards that. There always has been. There has been when it was good times and when it was bad. And I feel so bad for those kids because it's totally out of their control. And I feel that way about the kids in the who are trying to get into the CHL as well. It's going to affect them. And I don't want to say for sure that this ruins his chance of being a top 10 pick, but there's going to be owners say, do not touch these players.
Well, lucky for you, the Red Wings are going to be picking 11th.
Oh, perfect. We're good then.
At the border stamping visas. Hold on, Russian, where were you picked? 11th. Welcome to America, my friend.
Never mind. You're okay.
But is there going to be pressure because obviously the NHL terminated their agreement with the KHL because of all the political tensions going around? I wouldn't be surprised if players from Russia are going to get pressured now and be like, no, you can't leave now.
They had pressure before.
But it can only be ramped up now.
We're honestly, it's not crazy to say we're back in the Malkin era where Malkin had to literally run away from his team. Like, what did he say? He was going to like practice or something and then went to the airport. I forget what Malkin's story was. And you have those stories for Russians all the time until they kind of figure things out. And like you guys have said.
Listen to the McGillney story. It's absolutely insane. It's straight out of a spy movie.
Yeah. I mean, Red Wings fans are so familiar with how the Russian 5 transpired over there. Literally in a back alley with a limo door open. Anyways. Or a car door open. So.
I didn't mean to bring that up, but I just have.
No,
it's
relevant. It's notable.
It's very relevant.
There's going to be teams that say, doesn't matter. We're taking somebody and just because where they're born doesn't matter. There's going to be owners and teams that are like, it's their team, right? Like they can decide what they want to do and they're like, nope, no, don't touch them.
And it's almost a good thing that Yurov plays for Magnitogorsk. If he played for CSKA or SKA or one of the major KHL teams, man, those are the teams where those owners are very tight with Putin. And whether or not people want to admit if it matters or not, it will. It absolutely will matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the resolution to all geopolitical tensions are available, but they're only on the Patreon exclusive overtime where Evan doles out his
bring out my risk board and
his 10-point PowerPoint presentation of here's how I'm going to solve the problem in Russia while in a geopolitical war.
Yeah, Evan the statesman. It's a whole segment. Okay. We're going to jump into overtime here on this episode of the Winged Wheel podcast, and it being a midweek episode, it is Patreon exclusive. Patrons are the reason we're able to do things like raise money for the Jamie Daniels Foundation through Wings Money on the Board, Winged Wheel podcast night, everything like that. They're the reason we're able to do the show twice a week. That's the reason why we are able to rehabilitate Evan from the pits of hell from whence he came. They're the reason why we do all of this. Patrons, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast if you want to join them. Patrons, we love you. The Discord has been a blast lately. Every time I log on, it's something else hysterical in there.
Organized chaos at best.
Yes, you're all menaces, but we love you all the same. We're going to start with Cody Stark, who says, do you think opposing teams do their due diligence in scouting video against the Red Wings or against opponents, and when they get to the Wings, they just throw the tape on the floor, burn it, piss on the ashes, and say, it's just dump and chase? Yeah, that's how they always get reverse hit by Seider, is because the Seider reverse hit tape was in there too. It must be. The Red Wings aren't hard to game plan against.
No.
Not even remotely.
No.
Maybe Verona makes things interesting now, but
no.
It's not hard. Kyle Hashman says, I've been a bit, but somewhat less sad. Been building my hockey card collection up again recently. What's everyone's favorite card in their personal collection?
That's a good one. I've got a lot to choose from.
I have 0 hockey cards, so that makes it easy.
Yeah, I believe that. I'm not going to narrow it down. I've got 4 Gordie Howe autographs. You can pick any of them. Actually, I'll narrow one just because aesthetically it's pleasing. I've got if anybody remembers Upper Deck Black, Marks of Obsidian, I've got a Gordie Howe autograph with the little Canada flag in his old school Red Wings jersey.
That is some nerd shit right there.
You're a dweeb.
If you saw the card, though, it's like, yeah, that's sick.
But I'm still going to bully you right now.
Give me those shin pads back.
They're my card. They're mine.
Oh, did he bring you shin pads?
Yes.
How much do they cost you? No, you don't have to say.
Only 2 digits.
Hey, whoa, that's good.
And how much did they retail for?
Only 3 digits.
That start with a 2.
Whoa. My friend had a box, thousands and thousands and thousands of cards. And he was like, pick whichever ones you want. And I literally only wanted a Brendan Shanahan card. It's my favorite player of all time. And I dug through that box for hours and hours and hours. And by the end, I was like, there's obviously no Brendan Shanahan. And it was literally the last 6 cards I looked at. And something about that reward made that my favorite card. I don't know where it is now.
If you start at the other end.
I could have had a month back in my life. Yeah. I'm sure. Mr. Cloudicus says, hey guys, I have a dumb hot take and a dumb question. First off, Red Wings will win 5 out of their next 9 games. I do think that's a dumb hot take, but I'm with you, buddy. Evan. Second off, what do you think is more likely to happen? Bunting winning the Calder or the Wings making the playoffs next year?
Bunting.
Wings. I don't think Bunting comes close.
I don't
to
think
the
Do you
Colorado.
know how many? Do you know how many voters are in the GTA?
Do you know how many voters have already been polled, and Moritz Seider is the runaway favorite with Lucas Raymond and Trevor Zegras being behind him,
This
not
is
Michael
also
Bunting?
a statement of, I know what the Eastern Conference looks like next year, and I know what the Red Wings look like.
That's true, but what if the Red Wings get stellar goaltending for 3/4 of a season rather than a third?
Then they only
draft 15th.
yeah. Then they only miss by 15 points.
I think there's a base, because we've seen polling from voters that shows Moritz Seider as the runaway favorite, and this has been recent. I just don't see him not winning it.
So let's put it another way. Of the 8 teams currently in the playoffs in the East, who's falling out next year?
I don't know, man.
Well, it's relevant to the question.
Washington.
Okay. Now, do you think the Red Wings are going to be that much better than Columbus and the Islanders, who are currently between them and a playoff spot?
Yes. No, I don't think they're going to make the play. Neither of these things are
Both
likely.
both things can be unlikely. But one can be less unlikely.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The Red Wings making the playoffs is,
You think it's more unlikely?
yeah.
That's an interesting one. We have to take. You guys let us know.
I can see voters getting stupid over Bunting. I can't see the Red Wings making a huge step forward next year. I can see them taking a step forward next year, but not a huge one, while simultaneously one of 8 very, very good teams falls off a cliff.
Jack Mullen says, what signs should we look for heading into the offseason to predict what direction Yzerman will take with coaching?
Good luck.
You can climb to the
To
highest,
fire your coach.
climb to the highest mountain and look east at exactly the moment the sparrow. I don't know. You can't make predictions based off Yzerman.
Wait for the press release where it says that they have fired Jeff Blashill or extended him.
Yeah.
Try to find the Red Wings charity golf tournament, and I'll hunt him down.
Yeah, honestly. If Blashill's not, I mean, if we're getting months into the off season, I don't think we will. I think this will be decided pretty early on. But if
I would guess within a week of the season ending.
Yeah, but if we're getting into like July and we still don't know, I'd say then yeah, he's gone. But yeah, Yzerman doesn't really let these things hang around. Yzerman's cutthroat and he's ruthless, but he doesn't mess with people. He's not really.
It's all business, baby.
Yeah. Ben Barron says, howdy dub-dubs, how many games do you think it'll take Miggy to reach 3,000 hits? If your number of games falls on a Tigers home date, I will buy the tickets. What's his total right now?
2,994,3.
Oh, interesting.
He's close.
2,991.
Okay.
2,991.
So he needs 9 hits.
So 4.5 games, basically.
Ooh. Yeah, a good streak there.
I don't even know what's his career batting average.
I'm going to say 11.
He's got he's 310. It's early this year, but he's batting at 235. I'll give him 8 games.
7? I don't know.
Yeah. Magnus Cronus Superfan says, can Joe Sakic firk off? That's how people feel about Yzerman. I just can't wait till Yzerman's in that situation. And then last one here, Babe Landeskog says, there's still a couple teams that are in similar situations as the Wings, in my mind, with some variance depending on the team. Buffalo, Jersey, Ottawa, Anaheim, and maybe the weird one out of the list, the LA Kings. Who will be the biggest competitive rival with their various rebuilds/retools and their timelines?
Buffalo?
To me, it's split between Buffalo and Jersey with their young cores. Ducks have to be interesting with their young guns and nice trades. Obviously, Sens are getting things done and Kings are vying for a playoff spot, but I can see some fun matches in the future with Jack Hughes versus Raymond, for example.
I'm going to say Ottawa. Their timeline looks pretty similar right now, and now that there's going to be, God, how the hell do I say this without sounding insensitive? An organizational shift.
Well, their owner passed away. They need to sell. Like that. It is what it is.
And it's going to be an improvement on what they were dealing with previously.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, I really hate everything Ottawa's done as an organization, mostly for the last 5 years. But there's reason for optimism. And, Stützle and Norris are all young, really good around this on the same track as the Red Wings, some of the Red Wings top prospects. So their path seems to line up the closest to Detroit's, but if not them, I would say Buffalo.
I don't hate the New Jersey answer. I think, I've been thinking a lot about the Ottawa one ever since the first time we talked about it, and I think I maybe didn't give him enough credit, but I still maintain that I don't think Pierre Dorion is a solution for them. But maybe there's been enough acquired there where it's not going to matter for so long. Buffalo will be interesting, though. It will be very interesting. I'm very curious to see how Owen Power does.
He looked decent last night.
Yeah, because they're basically the inverse of Ottawa. They have the big pieces there, but they don't have the depth yet. Ottawa's got a million good prospects. Buffalo's got like 4 good prospects, but they're really damn good. So
Owen Power's hair is from a Disney movie. Have you seen that, dude?
Yeah.
I looked at him and like, did he have like did he have a blowout like literally right before this? Anyways.
I love that his like D-Boss type of video surfaced already of like him at 13 years old doing a YouTube video of how to tape your hockey stick.
That's you if you ever make it.
It's me.
How about the Allura Rocks making it onto like national, like international, like viral acclaim?
Oh, I saw something about that.
And Brad's not even in the clip.
There was like 3 players from my team in the clip, and it was just because of the goalie.
That was a wicked save.
That was an unreal save.
Can't believe you didn't tell us about that.
Oh, dude, Dunner's so good. He's the best goalie in our league by a lot. He's unreal.
I am so happy that someone caught that on a relatively clear camera.
Our games are streamed, my guy.
I've watched them. It's hard to pick you out. If you were a normal height, I would not know where you were.
Well, a bigger outlet has been covering the finals, and they have like a real budget.
Oh, has it been ESPN? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. Brad Krysko. We know it's Crisco, but some guy with a beard paid us $5 to say Krysko. Okay, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your support of the show. Remember the giveaway for the tickets, lower bowl on Sunday's game against Florida is happening soon. So get your pledges in for Wings Money on the board for that. Thank you to all of our listeners, everyone who's given us ratings on iTunes and Spotify. It really helps a lot. The sponsors of this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, the FanDuel Sportsbook, as well as the name level sponsors on Patreon. Arjun Shankar, Yves Bartels on behalf of the Sarah Grand Foundation, the Stay Fresh Cheese Bag, Nick Perks, Brett Bailey, Terry Driver, the number 69, Crying Ryan, Hannah's Banana Slam Jamathong, Matthew M. Rice, Billy Howell, Brandon M., Brian Johnson, Carl Brutanen Nanalewski, Citizen High Five, Craig Kibble, Daniel Garcia, Derek Enstam, DJ Denton, Give Blood, Fight Probert, Han Ali, Hassam Al-Qassem, I'd Leave My Wife for Cider, Jay Gollum, Jacob Turner, Justin and the Angry Mob, Kalen Wood, King Tone, Kyle Hashman, Marcus, Matt McKay, Nicholas Fritz, R.A. Nicholas is a brand new name level sponsor, so welcome and thank you so much for your support. Welcome to the Dub Club. R.A., Ryan Hubbard, Scott Martin, Stay Fresh Cheese Bag, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Greech Bags, the master and champion of the Winged Wheel Podcast, the freshest of cheese bags, the legend himself, Joseph F. Fournier, Zach Spring, Sam Bengtson, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Antonio Gracias, Babe Landeskog, Ben Barron, Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh, Cheese Bag, I Wish I Could Stay Fresh, Dave W., Evans Bingo Card, James Laporte, Jeremiah Dobo, Jeremy Brocker, Josh Yelton, Kevin McCracken, Quaz, presented by Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Matt Keeler, Matt S., Missing Vladdy More Than Ever, Papa Woody, Reed, Ravi DeLuca, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Cheese Bags, Stay Fresh Flea Bags, Trevor Pevovar, Zach Handyside, and Zach McCann, a driving range superstar. I need a tea after that. See you later, losers.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to check out wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find links to other ways to support the show, such as Patreon, official podcast apparel, and more. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod. And of course, the hosts at Brad Crisco, at Ryan Hanna WWP, and at Hockey Town Evan.